Nasty. Nasty.
They were called Nasties, and they were nasty.
Some of the things that we've seen are so horrific.
These films not only affect young people, but I believe they affect adults as well.
An extravaganza of gory violence capable of depraving and corrupting those who watched it.
I have never seen a video nasty. I wouldn't. I actually don't need to see what I know is in that film.
And welcome back to another episode of, wait for it, Doing the Nasty. That's right. After our couple of month hiatus, don't hate us, we are returning to you with Season 2, Episode number 30. I'm one of your hosts, Duncan McLeish. Joining me is my long-suffering co-host for the entirety of Season 2. It's a phenomenal Mark Ball. How you doing, Mark?
I gotta do it. Back in black. It's sick. We are back. Yeah, it's been a dude. This has been the weirdest, craziest fucking summer in recent history, in recent memory. And I didn't even go to. This would normally right now be film festival season.
Yeah, you'd be away to Texas, wouldn't you?
No, yeah. I would have just been getting back last week from Fantastic Fest. I did not go this year. I talked to one of my buddies that did go. He said it was very slow this year. Not a lot of people showed up, and people that had the lesser quality badges or whatever had absolutely no problem getting in to see stuff. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because we went last year and it was barely a festival because of COVID and shit.
Yeah,
they're still separating seats and stuff. And really weird year last year for sure. I definitely saw on Twitter a few people getting COVID at Fantastic Fest this year that had to call it early. So I don't know. I don't feel terrible about missing it. A lot of the stuff that they ended up seeing is definitely coming out. The opening night movie was Smile, which came out in theaters a fucking week later or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the secret screenings was the new Hellraiser movie, which just came out.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but it sounds like a lot of the stuff that they saw is either coming out on theaters or Shudder or whatnot. So I don't know. I don't feel terrible. I saved a shit ton of money by not going this year, and the wedding is in about 20 days.
Yeah,
from
this
recording,
is the thing.
So.
You did it not because of safety concerns or anything. It's because your wedding is just around the corner.
Yeah. And my current job, they're like, you got to pick either one or the other, dude. You can either take a week off for the wedding or a week and a half off to go to Texas, but not both. So I'm like, I can't. That's no decision to make. Of course, I'm gonna take it off for the fucking wedding. But
of course, yeah.
Anyway,
it's surprised that they even said that to you.
Yeah,
wedding or film festival, which was it going to be, Mark?
Make a decision, dumb shit. So yeah. Anyway, better luck next year. I'm gonna try and get out to some stuff.
Festivals are still picking up. I think that's the thing. I think it is still. I think it is still really early. I mean, when we did Fright Fest at the beginning of the year, and it wasn't sold out, but. I mean, it was busy, but I don't think it was as busy as even the organisers expected it to be. And that's just in one auditorium. So that's people that buy those, apart from the floating tickets for individual screenings, it's just one auditorium that you're in all for the 2 days. So, and it was noticeable that certain movies just had, it was at 3/4 capacity, which it never is. Even on the shittest movies, it's usually full. So, and I think that's people just being kind of slowly acclimating to this new world that we live in. And these things will pick up. Festivals like that will never go away. It's just that it sometimes takes the audience time to kind of feel more comfortable in partaking in those sorts of events. Plus, no one's got any money. The economy is dog shit at the moment, and it's just this is just the tip of a very shitty iceberg. We are gonna the next 2 years are gonna be fucking miserable. When it comes to the cost of things. So when you get to that, it is a case of similar to the wedding scenario and all the rest. It's well, do I want to eat this month or do I want to go to a film festival? And surprise, film festivals will lose out on that. So kind of cringy.
But
awkward,
the other thing that's kind of picking up is concerts. I did finally make it to like some real fucking concerts this summer.
Dude, I've seen I'm back doing the music reviews. So, well, I have been back doing the music reviews for about fucking 3 years. But
going to shows again.
Yeah, going to shows because we're getting comp tickets essentially to go and interview bands and all the rest. And I've been to about 8 since we last talked, and I think I've got like 12 before the end of the year.
God damn, all in Glasgow?
Yeah, pretty much Glasgow and Edinburgh. But there's because the bands couldn't tour for so long, they're all out on tour now. And it's another thing where like I've been to very few sold out shows because like it's like any given week in Glasgow now, you'd swing a cat and hit a amazing touring band that are in Glasgow that week. Like they're almost back to back. Just now, in fact, we're in this weird position that in the same night in Glasgow coming up real soon, Zeal and Ardor, who I fucking love, are playing the same night as Clutch. And it's what are we fucking doing here? Like, it just like, that's honestly, was like, I think the first week in November, in the space of 7 days, there are 4 gigs that I'm going to. So it's like all bands that are like big touring established metal acts. It's how you parse that out. I did see you did go and see the 9 Inch Nails, who I saw earlier on in this tour. So
nice.
How fucking good were they?
Oh my god, that was an incredible
Ridiculous.
show. I spent a small fucking fortune on 2 tickets for that thing because the Red Rocks shows always sell out instantly, and they do 2 nights, and both nights are just like gone in a microsecond.
Plus the pictures looked fucking insane from that. That is the venue for a band like that.
Oh, dude! One of these days when you come over to the States, you got to do a fucking Red Rocks show. Yeah. Even the shittiest band is gonna be like incredible out at fucking Red Rocks. It's man, I couldn't pass that up, and that was an incredible show. That was sold the fuck out. Actually, it's a bit of a jaunt to get up in that place. Like it's like about a fucking hour like hike, like especially if they're just opening the gates or whatever. So my fiance and I got up there, and like we're up in the general admission kind of bullshit, and we find a good place to sit, and I'm like, I'm gonna go run and grab us drinks real quick. And I totally did not look at the fucking aisle that we were sitting in. So I get up. Of course, the beer line is 10 miles fucking long, so like by the time I actually like get up there to get drinks, the opening band is playing and the house lights are down. Yeah. So I get down there and I have a vague idea of what row we're sitting in, but when the lights are down and it's a crowd for 9 Inch Nails, it's just nothing but pasty faces and black t-shirts as far as the eye can see. So I was panicking a little bit. I eventually just texted her, and I'm like, there's no fucking way I can find you until the house lights come back on, so just sit tight and I will come to you. Ended up drinking our beers. Just,
I was about to say, I just love this idea. You've like returning half an hour later with 2 empty plastic cups. Got that. I got so thirsty trying to find you.
I was like, what am I supposed to do? Just stand here and let it get fucking warm and flat? Like, no, I brought some waters, and we cut all of the 9 Inch Nails set, and it was fucking incredible. Oh yeah. Like about a week later, we caught Health and Perturbator and Street Sex in Denver, which was fucking amazing. Holy shit. I think that's about the 3rd time I've caught a Perturbator show, and it's been different every time. He's back playing with a drummer. He plays guitar a little bit on the live set and sings a couple new tracks off of his new album. Nice. And dude, that show is fucking great.
I've seen them middle of the month. They're playing to a sold out audience in Glasgow, which I'm so happy for, and they're playing in a venue which is like a converted church, so it's going to be pretty wicked. And Author and Punisher are opening for them. So, and I had Author and Punisher tickets. Back in February, March, right after the album came out, the new album, which I fucking love. I love that new album, and I could not wait to go and see them. And then they pulled out of their UK dates, like kind of last minute, and then I think they ended up coming back to do some sort of support slot, but it was only in England. So this is them now finally coming to Scotland, so I'm like super excited for that, because I've never seen Author and Punisher live. So
it's gonna be great. He's another one. His live shows seems like I've seen him a couple times now, and it's always different. He's got a guitarist now. Like
he's doing vocals in this new album. He's singing all the way right through it. So I like that from that point of view. I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very excited for that as well. It'll be real cool, man. It'll be real cool. So
one last thing on the concert topic, and then I suppose we'll probably jump into these two video nasties.
Do we have to talk about video nasties, Mark? Do we?
Well, I don't know what the plan is currently. Originally, we were talking about recording 2 episodes today, so 4 movies. 2 of those movies I have quite a bit to say about, and 2 of those movies I don't fucking care if I ever talk about again, frankly. So we'll see.
What I'm going to say is, let's see how we feel when this episode finishes, and then if we want to do another 2, I'm in a position where I watched the next 2 movies like a month ago, and I've forgotten 75% of what goes on in at least one of those movies. So I'm kind of like, let's get Mark. I'm in no rush now, right? Like I was saying to you off air, like I was originally about that. This show has a hard finish, May 2023. I'm like that. I created that, so I can move it. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I ain't got no boss telling me to do this.
Fuck 'em.
It's my network. It's my show. I'm like, you know what? If I want to take my time, I'll take my fucking time. So what else did you see?
I didn't see any, but I listened to that last episode that came out in like the beginning of June or whatever, and I was just talking about playing my first live show.
Oh fuck, you've done about 4 since then. So.
Yes, I've played 4 shows in that amount of time. So yeah, like shortly after that one, I played a show in Billings, Montana, at a really cool place called Kirk's. That was kind of a it's a sweet little DUI spot, and Billings has like a pretty rad music scene. You know, there's lots of kids that are into like noise and fucking industrial and just like heavy weird shit, and this venue kind of specializes in a lot of that. That show went fucking great. I played with a really rad little punk band called Scuba Steve and the Shark. That one went off without a hitch. And then like probably about 2 months later, I played my first hometown show here in Casper. I played with a 2-piece noise rock band called Doug that was fucking rad. They were just like an insanely fucking heavy sounding band, considering it's just a drummer and a fucking guitar player. That show was incredible. Lots of people came out to that. I kind of was hyping that up on Facebook like as much as humanly possible, and had a pretty good turnout, and a lot of people came out and really liked it. And then I think we were getting ready to leave from 9 Inch Nails, and my friend that's been kind of helping me book some shows booked me. He's like, hey, you want to play next Saturday? I know you got like a week to prep for that, but come on out. So I'm like, all right, yeah, fuck it. I'm not going to say no to that shit. And so this was just a couple weeks ago. I played that show. My guy that set it up for me had to dip early because he had been either playing or running shows for like the previous 4 nights in a row all over the state of Wyoming. So he had to dip early, and he's like, the PA is all set up and ready to go to, just plug in and start like your normal time and have fun. So I get there, nobody fucking shows up because there is a college football game. Wyoming was playing like BYU or something. I don't know much about the sports balls, but I think about half the town was probably doing that. And there had also been a pretty big show the night before at that same venue. So nobody fucking showed up. I think one person that wasn't either in the fucking 2 bands that played or was a like girlfriend of them or whatever showed up. So nobody came out. I got there kind of late and was in a big hurry to set up all my shit, and nothing was working. I had no idea how to fucking run this fucking PA system because I'd never even like looked at it before. I had myself convinced that I had like a bad patch cable, but in retrospect, I'm pretty sure I had shit plugged into the wrong fucking outputs and inputs. So I'm scrambling to just even get fucking sound to come out of this stupid fucking thing. And finally I do, and I'm like, fuck it, let's roll, turn the lights down, let's play. I'll play to the other band, who were very nice and very gracious about all this. And I very quickly realized that the sound that is coming out of the PA is in mono, and I've been mixing in fucking stereo the whole time. So about 70% of the mix is not coming through at all, and I'm just scrambling through my shit to try and I very foolishly write my sets so that they all kind of run together for the most part as like one big 25-ish minute song. So it's not like I can like, stop in the middle of it and fuck around with it. I'm just it was a fucking disaster. It was the worst show I've played. Yeah, I finally got the bad show out of my system, thank God, and yeah, learned a lot of hard lessons that night. Which, thank God, it was that night and not one of the nights when 20, 30, however many people show up. There was nobody there to see me bomb except for the other band, and they were super nice about it. They're like, your set sounded great, and I was just immediately like, that was the worst show I've ever fucking played. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know how you could hear anything. I couldn't hear anything. I didn't have any like stage monitors. This is something I'm gonna have to work on for the next one. So yeah, I got that was a disaster. That was the longest 24 minutes of my fucking life. Like there's pictures of it, and I can just see it on my face that I am panicking. I am just dripping fucking sweat, like cold, scared sweat, and I'm just like freaking the fuck out a little bit. But yeah, it turned out okay. You got to get those out of the way.
100%. Like you like never appreciate how something the best elements of doing anything live until you've had the experience of it just going utterly wrong and out with your control. You need that. Yep. You do need that. Like, if all you ever experience is the dizzying highs, like, by the time one of those comes around, it will destroy you. So it's best to get it early. And get
it got me asking questions amongst, like the like electronic artist subreddits and stuff, and they actually like were really, they said pretty much the same thing. They're like, you've got to get the bad one out of the way,
you need to.
Learn.
you do. You're 100%. It's kind of like podcasting as well. Like there's, like you need that episode that you will never go back and do anything with, even after the edit, because it's shit, and it exists online, and it's there, and it's in the back catalogue, hopefully buried somewhere that not lots of people hear it. But that's not the one that you would ever, when someone's like, what's a good episode for me to start listening to your show, you never point to that one because you kind of wish it didn't exist.
We had some interviews like that back on the Midnight Horror Show. There's a couple of those that didn't end up back on the feed because they were just fucking disasters. There's a reason that it was only like the Tristan Risk and the Jill Six interviews on that feed for many, many years. The rest of them not so good.
Those sort of things are out with your control, for the most part. Like, it's never generally what you do when it comes to interviews. It can be the answers that you get by someone who maybe isn't even trying to be awkward, but that's just how they sound. So it's part and parcel of doing it, and that's the fun thing. The good thing is you're out there doing it though, which is the main thing. Like you don't get off the horse because you fallen off. You get back on it and continue to ride. So I look forward to hearing the success stories of future gigs, and that's the important thing. You just put that one, you just chalk that one up to like a learning experience of right. Well, we've done that, and sometimes things are completely out with your control, and you move on. And it's as easy as that. I've done nothing. Like I've literally, I say I've done nothing. I put out.
That's a fucking lie. You've put out 10,000 podcasts.
Well,
I was gonna commend you for it, by the way, because my job right now, I actually have on average at least about 4 or 5 hours a day where I'm driving and listening to podcasts. This is the first year that I listened to every single episode of the summer series as it was coming out. Usually you got to take those in chunks. Like it was, I wanted to tell you, it was really smart putting those in little bite-sized ones.
I thought so as well. I think next year I'm definitely doing that in that format as well. One, I felt like it just made it was, believe it or not, it was easier for me in the edit because I was only ever concentrating on like specific decades, but I also felt the same way. I felt it was more fun from an audience engagement, but also the format, the way I recorded. That's how we take breaks when we're recording those episodes. So it made sense to be like, well, that should be an episode. So thank you very much. But yeah, we put out all 40 in 2 months, as well as all the other stuff I was doing, which is just fucking silly. And yeah, with that though, I haven't really done that much. We're obviously in the height of our 31 of October at the moment, so yesterday's movie was the new Hellraiser, so nice. Which I had to fucking VPN and get someone's Hulu account to watch, because unlike all the other Hulu movies which have come straight to Disney Plus in the UK, that one didn't. So
that's super fucking weird. What's the adult, not adult, it makes it sound like a porn streaming thing or something or whatever, but yeah, what's the more adult oriented thing that, like, instead of, because here Disney Plus doesn't really, if it's a Disney owned property, they don't go to Disney Plus, they go to
we don't have Hulu over here, so Hulu
what's
titles are essentially assumed by that. So Stars is the one that falls under it, generally, all that stuff would come to Stars, but that's still under the Disney app, so it still comes up in Disney Plus. But we got things like Prey, but then Prey's full. This is the thing. I was trying to work this out. Prey was like the Predator franchise was created by Fox. Fox is owned by Disney, so there's no issue there. Spyglass are the company that are behind one of the producers and distribution, I think, alongside Hulu, and I think Spyglass have a different relationship in the UK. So I think that's why it is. Apparently it's going to be sorted very quickly. I wasn't waiting around.
No.
So I was like, fuck this pish. By the time it comes out, it'll have leaked so much online that I just can't do that. So let's get this out of the way. And I really liked it. I thought it was really good. And I know there are people out there that are moaning about the movie. These people clearly have not experienced Hellraisers 5 through 10.
Revelations especially.
Oh, dude, like it's like the stuff that I've seen. I get some of the criticism. It is relatively slower pace. It's a 2-hour movie, so strap yourself in. But like at this point, anyone going, well, you know, it's not Hellraiser without Doug Bradley, and I'm like, we've had this argument before, right?
Yeah.
And generally, I would agree, but Doug Bradley's in 5 of those really bad movies. Like, when he's in it,
he can't save them.
Yeah, it's not that you could bring him in. That's not going to make the movie. I actually thought the Cenobite stuff was done wickedly well, like really, really, really well, like serious, like not as in Freddy Krueger, which is kind of how like Doug Bradley became at the end. He's all kind of smiling. They are cold and evil, and that's all I want. I like the story as well. It has shades of the novel for sure. It feels definitely updated, and I won't say any more because you've not seen it. But yeah, I thought it was great. It's definitely in my top 4 favourite Hellraiser movies. But all those other 4 that are, well, the other 3 movies that are in that top, I've grown up with. So time will tell how high it goes up there. But it's comfortably in there. I mean, it's easily better than the majority of them because it's an actual Hellraiser movie and not a script that was co-opted into a Hellraiser movie. So, like...
Let's shove some Cenobites in this shitty script we got here.
100%. Like, it's written as a Hellraiser movie, which instantly gives it more cred than the majority of what is in that franchise. So, anyone that's saying that just clearly didn't want to watch a Hellraiser movie. They wanted to see a Doug Bradley movie, which is fine. But you've got plenty of them. Just go and watch them and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's still doing stuff. Like, I think he was doing like an audiobook series for a little while where he just basically read scary stories that I heard an episode of. It was fucking great.
He's got a great voice for it. He's got
one of those voices you could just listen to all fucking day.
100%. So yeah, but it's been interesting. Like, some have been like incredibly good, some have been pretty shitty. Highlight for me is Speak No Evil so far. That movie is just a kick in the balls.
Yeah, I've heard really good things.
Fucking shit. Like, do not watch that if you're in a happy mood. Like honestly, it's uncomfortable. It's just an awkward, uncomfortable movie for the first hour, and then the last like 20 minutes is just tense nightmare fuel. Really, really, really good. Like, really good. And the worst one I've seen out of that group so far is probably Day Shift, which is the Jamie Foxx Snoop Dogg.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Netflix Vampire Hunter thing like that, which, as I've said on many different platforms now, I have like zero interest in that Blade movie coming out. We've done martial arts killing vampires stuff to death now. I am over it. Like, when that director walked out, I was like, he made the right choice. Let's just shelf that for a while. Even Mahershala Ali, who's now the new Blade, is kind of like, yeah, I'm not too sure about this project. And I'm like, Bale, dude, you've got a fucking Oscar. What are you even doing here?
Yeah.
Like, you just get out now. I'd like, honestly, that movie was, and it has the balls, as the fucking balls, Mark, to have Snoop Dogg at the end of it, basically co-opt the end of Lost Boys. So the one thing I always loved about Los Angeles, the goddamn vampire. And I was like, no, you do not mention that movie. It does not come out your filthy whore mouth, Snoop Dogg.
He must have a lot of kids nowadays that eat a lot of hard candy from Grandpa Snoop, because he will just do fucking anything.
I just think he's just loving life. I think that's what it is. I think he's just like loving life, and I think he'd like, why not put Snoop Dogg in a fucking a vampire movie where he walks in like a black cowboy with a giant minigun. That's in this movie. for shizzle my nizzle, you fuck off, Snoop Dogg. Right. Anyway, that's So there's been a lot of that. There's still tons to go on that, and I'm kind of looking forward. Tonight is Crimes of the Future. Sitting
Nice.
down and getting ball deep in some in Cronenbergian body horror. So if there isn't at least a stomach vagina, I'm walking. Speaking of stomach vaginas, there isn't any in the movies we're about to talk about, but we're about to do a double bill here of good old-fashioned 70s Americana horror, as we do Enter the Devil from 1972, although technically released in 74, and a little movie. You may have heard of it before, Mark. I don't know actually if you have. A movie that I have now spoken about. This will be the third time I've spoken about this movie in the last month. Phantasm. So yes, I did it with the Baz, who Baz fucking hated it. Don't know if you heard that
dude, I was
episode yet.
laughing so fucking hard at that episode.
It gets funnier.
dying.
It gets funnier. But yeah, he fucking hated Phantasm. And then I got to do it for Summer Series, where it like barely lost out against The Brood. So yeah, we're gonna do our best to basically not reinvent the wheel on this one. So what we're going to do is take a short break just now. You're going to hear Learned People. If memory serves, it's Kim Newman that does this one. So Kim Newman's going to talk to you all about Enter the Devil. And when we return, we're discussing that movie, and we're doing it right after this.
Enter the Devil, which is not to be confused with a retitling of The Sexorcist that came out later, also known as Disciples of Death. Since neither the devil or Death's disciples actually appear in the film, the villains are a weird Christian sect called the Penitentes, who've had other exploitation movies made about them, crossed with sort of Mayan human sacrifice guys. My assumption is this was filmed as something else entirely and then got more exploitable, if rather generic, titles stuck on it. It's sort of part of a cycle of early 70s films, which are, I suppose, Rosemary's Baby Goes West. I always think of them as the robed redneck films. They're films like Race with the Devil and The Devil's Reign. They all have the devil in the title, which are about demon cults out west. There's a slight Manson vibe going, but it's much more the chanting in Latin. So every TV cop show in the 70s did an episode with a bunch of cultists like this. You know, it's like Starsky and Hutch or Macmillan and Wife would come across people with the same robes doing the same human sacrifice stuff. This was made by a director-producer called Frank Q. Dobbs, who didn't actually direct that much else. He made Uphill All the Way and one of those rather late Burt Reynolds movies. But he was a big man in Texas film production. He produced the sequel miniseries to Lonesome Dove and a bunch of other quite big TV Western projects. Almost everything he made was a Western, so I suspect that's where the Texas film industry's heart lay. And even though the cover and the promotional material makes this out to be a horror picture, it's almost much more a modern day Western. It's people go missing in the desert. There's a lawman in it, although he's a bit of a dickhead and he doesn't make it to the end. And there's a sort of respect for the anthropology of this made-up religion. The Penitentes were known for flagellation. There's a famous exploitation picture called Lash of the Penitentes, which uses supposed real footage of flagellation. Oddly enough, considering how offensive that would be for the BBFC, they don't do too much flagellation in here. There's a bit of it, but not much. Most of it is just the conventional, let's drag the heroine out into a cave, chant some Latin over her and stab her as an offering to whatever great god gazebo that they're bowing down to before the climax. It's not a terribly eventful film. It's certainly a lot less fun than Race with the Devil or The Devil's Reign. It has a kind of interesting desert atmosphere, and it's one of those minor films that you forget a week after you've seen, but while it's on is sort of watchable. There's stuff going on that you can relate to other films that are more fun than this one. If it had another title, if it hadn't mentioned the devil, it would have probably just gathered dust on the video shelves without anybody noticing. It could easily have played afternoon television. Yeah, and its very unsensationalist nature is probably what means that even now it doesn't have much of a cult following. There aren't people out there campaigning for the Enter the Devil special edition on DVD, say it. So I think the waters are closed over this one.
Jace, need you to crawl out from under there, boy.
1 more minute, boss man. 1 more minute. There, she ought to run forever.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. I need you to take a ride down Bend.
Sure thing. First thing in the morning.
You ought to be able to make it by about mid-afternoon. This fellow by the name of Perkins.
Tom. Friday's my day off, remember?
This rock hound, Jace, by the name of Ozzie Perkins, took a vacation trip out of Houston down into the Bend. Now, he's long overdue on a return. So I told Houston, you go down there and have a look around.
Fresh start in the morning, I'd have the whole day.
Damn it, Jace, you'll have all the time it takes. Look, boy, this is election year. Now, I don't want no open cases on election day. Go ahead and get cleaned up, huh? And don't get too attached to that lip brush, boy. That's got to go.
Tom, I had a hot day tonight. Pretty good possibility.
You're something. You know that. Maybe you ought to start off down at Glenn Phelps' place. A lot of tourists stop in there, coming and going. And doesn't that little Juanita still work down there?
Okay. I will get cleaned up. But if you don't want me coming back until I get it straightened out, you'd better start sending my checks care of Tarlingwood, Texas, general delivery. I might grow a beard. This Ozzie Perkins won't be the first gringo that dropped out of sight down in the Big Bend country.
Yeah, but I'll be damn glad when they quit using Brewster County for their disappearing act. I'll get you a picture of this guy.
welcome back, ladies and gents. So it's time to do it. Enter the Devil. This one is directed by Frank Q. Dobbs, who co-wrote it with David S. Cass Sr. There we go. It's a lot of S's there. It stars Joshua Bryan, Irene Kelly, David S. Cass Sr. What? He's in it as well? John Martin, Carol Benson, Norris Domingue. Domingue? I don't know. Willie Gonzalez, Ed Geldert, Robert John Allen, and Happy Sahan, who plays Ozzy Perkins, which did make me smile because I was like, Osgood Perkins? How did he know? Because he does stuff with the devil. The synopsis for this one is somewhere in southwest Texas, where a Christian cult is said to have resided in the past, a deputy sheriff investigates a number of suspicious deaths. That is pretty apt. Now this one...
There's that and a lot of fucking filler in this movie. That's about 10% of what happens.
They love a slow pan. Let's do you've heard of Lopan from Big Trouble in Little China? This is his slightly uncomfortable brother. He's a little bit shifty.
One camera move, and damn it, they were going to use it.
Oh, dude, this is just like, and right, and slow down a little bit, and right, and ominous music, please, and right, and cut. Right, next scene, and right. It's like all. So yeah, this one does not have a formal release in the UK. It has a Blu-ray release in the States though, which did surprise me because I was like, "This really okay." Here's my thoughts on this one, Mark. For the most part, I'm fine with this movie. I like the setting. I like anything to do with religious cults or cults in general in cinema. I'm down to clown on, right? Even though they're not really a satanic cult per se, but that's fine, we've got on there. And like the name of the movie fits in very much of the time period and the setting. I fucking lost count of how many, like from 72 to 77 devil western movies actually exist. You'll have to think of something like Race with the Devil to kind of capture that in your brain. There's loads of them out there, so that kind of makes sense that they would have that there. So I love the setting. I love the premise. Someone goes missing, we're going to get someone involved, or there's this cult, maybe something's going on. It's kind of Wicker Man-esque. I'm kind of digging that. It was a bit nastier than I thought it was, even though it's not gratuitous in terms of what it shoots. It certainly has a feel of kind of torture, and there's a woman burned, and all that stuff's cool. It's not afraid to take out like a lead character, which I will also give thumbs up to. I thought the score was pretty cool, but by God, is there a whole lot of nothing going on in this very short movie. Not a long movie at all, and there is a ton of filler. So, thoughts?
So I watched this on YouTube.
Yes, you did.
The music in this was really weird. I kind of think a couple of these tracks were replaced down the road with more modern shit, because like the opening music to this sounds very different than a lot of the other musical cues in this.
I don't know if that's I've got a theory on this, right? My theory on the copy that you sent round was that I think this is I'm not entirely sure, but I think YouTube has an algorithm.
Yes, yeah.
So it searches out soundtracks. So I think they were replacing the soundtrack with other sounds so it didn't get pulled. That was my theory.
I think you're probably right. That did occur to me too. I bet it might have been like a song that the copyright bots pick up real easy and are like, no, you don't. So that's a pretty easy fix. And honestly, like the music that they put in there, I think fits pretty well and like actually like syncs up to the action that's happening like 100%. Pretty decently. As far as the rest of this movie goes, I had to watch this twice because this like put me to fucking sleep like somewhere towards the middle of this. This is really I would call this really fucking tame for a Video Nasty movie. It does have a couple parts, and obviously like all the Satanism stuff really fucking freaked people out in the 80s for whatever reason. It was softer times. The Marilyn Mansons hadn't come around at this point. People were really freaked out about like satanic cults and like thought this shit was really happening, which no, it wasn't. This movie's got a lot of shortcomings. This was clearly made on like a zero fucking budget. They knew some dudes with some some cloaks, like, or they borrowed them from like a community theater type deal. All these people are listed as actors. I think they just went to like a bar and were like, "Hey, you want to come be in our movie?" And like, because every character is like either like the satanic cultists in this, I don't feel like really have characters until like maybe the very end. They're kind of like lurking in the background of this. So we spend a lot of the time with generic fat southern sheriff number one and his buds, his drinking buds. Basically, it's like Dead Pecker Row if you put them on film. There's some weird racial shit going on in this because obviously it's Texas, so there's a bunch of Mexican characters that are basically just treated really fucking terrible. There's some gross misogyny and an attempted rape scene, basically, which I was really grateful gets cut short by one of the characters. But as far as like in terms of offensive content in this one's pretty tame. There's a dude that gets dropped into like a pit with a fucking rattlesnake that like is not that gory. This might be another case of they watched the first 5 minutes and said fuck this because it has like Satanism and basically like a human sacrifice within like before the opening credits are finished.
There's a bit of that and a bit of, I think the term enter the devil, like I mean, it can't be stressed enough. The driving force behind the Nasties was like the British version of fundamentalist Christianism. That was the extent. It's like this is warping and corrupting the minds of our youth. So anything with the devil in it and cults and stuff is just a fucking no. Like we're not playing that game. I think you're right. That lined up with the opening 5 minutes. I mean, there's a reason it's on the tier 3 list because, like you say, there isn't really anything in this. It's a PG. I mean, it's like it's not a. There isn't anything in this, and like I said, I appreciate the craft because, like I said, it's a beautiful scene. It's the same reason I love a movie like Near Dark or The Hitcher. Like you give me like barren landscape, you give me like even slow camera work, but you give me cool camera work, you set your movie there, I'm in. You know what I mean? I love that shit. But when you're playing in such a fertile environment to do with like satanic cults or just cults in general, of which by this point you've had a Charles Manson. So that's kind of in like the whole bunch of those early 70s movies are all Charles Manson and the family ripoffs. That I just expect more, and it kind of feels like this maybe isn't designed to be a horror movie. It's maybe like designed to be something else, but has ended up that way. Like I don't know if there was like rewrites to the script or anything, but it does kind of feel like there's the ideas of the suspense and the horror quote unquote aspects in the movie are almost at odds with the rest of it. And as a result, it takes too long to get to where it goes. Legitimately takes too long to get to where it needs to go. And it really struggles from not great acting, pretty bad pacing, and not living up to like the name of your movie is Enter the fucking Devil. Give me some devil.
Yeah, give metal as fuck.
Yeah, give me some of that. And it doesn't even, you don't get any of that at all. You essentially get crazy religious zealots performing human sacrifice, which once again on paper sounds bitchin', but in this movie it's a bit slow, a bit preachy, and some of that dialogue's a little bit cringy. So it's a harmless movie, like genuinely, like awfully harmless, like to the point where like if I sat down with my 8-year-old and watched her, she'd be like, "Is this even a horror movie, Dad?" I can see that conversation. Like really, like people were scared of this. She's getting a little bit cocky at the moment anyway because like she's watched like The Ring and stuff like that. Not The Ring. She watched Wreck and all that now, so she's kind of like, "Ain't no flares on this ship." I don't know. I was kind of, from the synopsis and even from the trailer that I saw, I was expecting this to be a bit more, not necessarily gnarly, but just a bit more entertaining, and it doesn't even have that. It doesn't even have that kind of like Blood Farmer where we're like, this acting is awful, but oh my god, I can't take my eyes off the screen. It doesn't even have that level. It's still played surprisingly serious, and I think that's maybe where it loses points for me, because when you watch a movie like Race with the Devil, that movie, like, is so entertaining. It's ridiculously entertaining. It's not much better made than this, but it's ridiculously entertaining, and that's what carries it through. So,
do you kind of get maybe the impression that this movie had like way loftier, like they wanted to do maybe a lot more with this, and maybe they just didn't have the fucking money?
Well, this guy here, this Frank Dobbs, was a producer. Like a fairly prolific producer as well, which surprises me because producers are known for being able to get cash. And this one just doesn't. I think this is one of only a handful of directing credits he actually has. So to me, this kind of feels more like, I don't know the details about it, but this kind of feels more like not saying money laundering, but I'm like,
as a tax write-off.
Pretty much. I get the feeling that there is so little effort put into this in a lot of respects comparative to the money that's went in, that it kind of feels almost like, you know, let's get something out, our investors get their money back, I make some cash off it, and then kill some time and I'm off to the next project sort of thing, as opposed to, I mean, this dude actually worked with Burt Reynolds at some point, directing Burt Reynolds, so he did go on and have a healthy career. This just feels like one of those blips of kind of, we'll just get something out. I'll make a horror movie. Everyone's making a horror movie. I can make a Texas Devil movie, Mark. Watch me make a Texas Devil movie, Mark.
And they did. It's just not very fucking good.
And there's no devil in it. So turns out he couldn't make a Texas Devil movie, Mark. So yeah, for those that are joining us and kind of forgotten how we score things, there is no numbers here. It's just like vague terms of like hard time for the really bad ones, but community service for the ones that, you know, are kind of edging on to the kind of nasty side of things. There is slap on the wrist for things that maybe dip a toe into dodgy waters, and then there's a case dismissed for things that, like, why are we doing this? And this is a case dismissed for like 100 times over. There's nothing in this. There's no dread, there's no atmosphere, there's no tension. It's beautifully shot and I love the score, but that's about it from me. What are you giving it, Mark?
Absolutely. This is totally a case dismissed, and I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't really recommend, unless you're a Video Nasty completist, you can probably skip this one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend a different movie that I saw for Chattanooga Film Festival a couple years ago. Do you remember quite a ways back on this run of? Do you remember a movie called The Aftermath?
Yes. Yeah. It was a ton of fun.
So that dude, about, I don't know, 15, 20 years later after that, did another movie called Empire of the Dark. And it also stars, I think, his son as like the lead. It's like almost the same. They're like kind of companion pieces to each other. Empire of the Dark was made like on a much bigger budget, I think. Like Aftermath was made for like, I don't know, 600 grand or something. And they had like 2 million to make Empire of the Dark. And it's got, I can't remember who the effects artist is on that, but it's got a lot of really awesome like miniature work and like some puppets and some stop motion and shit. It's, I think, a lot more along the lines of what this movie wanted to be, kind of. And Empire of the Dark is still corny as fuck and like has a lot of shortcomings, but it's kind of along the same lines. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and do one of these things where I say maybe don't watch this movie, but check out Empire of the Dark. I think either Severin or Vinegar Syndrome or somebody probably just put out a Blu-ray of this and the Aftermath. Those two would make a great double feature. Yeah, made by the same filmmakers, and yeah, similar plot on Empire of the Dark. You know what's weird also is that there are at some point in this movie there are children in like satanic cloaks, so we get the fucking Jawas basically from Star Wars, much like we do in the next movie we're going to be talking about.
Ladies and gents, that's what you call a linking device or a segue. We're going to take a very short break just now. You're going to hear Leonard Folk, Stephen Thrower probably, I think. He kind of feels like he talks about these sorts of movies, or maybe Alan Jones. I should always do my research before we do this, but we're going to be discussing Phantasm for me for the third time in the last calendar month. You're going to hear the trailer for it when we return, myself and Mark discussing that movie right after this.
Okay, so we have here Phantasm by Don Coscarelli. Now, I'm sure that this doesn't need very much of an introduction. If you're a horror fan and you've not seen Phantasm, then where the hell have you been? It's an essential film. One of my all-time favourites. It's doing that kind of dreamlike, is it real or is it a dream, is it real or is it some parallel fantasy world? It's playing with the boundaries of what's real and what isn't real in a way that a few years later films like Nightmare on Elm Street would come along and kind of nail down a bit more, whereas the boundaries in this film feel looser and stranger than that. Very, very dreamlike. It kind of combines so many different elements as well. It's a reality-bending horror story. It's a sort of a story about fraternal love and loyalty as well, which I think is one of the reasons why it's attracted a lot of affection among fans over the years. It's not just nothing wrong with just a horror film, I should add, but it's not just a horror film. There's a lot of emotional content as well. Instead of what usually happens in horror movies these days, where everyone is basically chipping at each other all the time and trying to outdo each other, and there's a lot of waspish and snide comments between the characters, because scriptwriters love to write that shit. They can make themselves sound a bit sharper and wittier than they perhaps feel like they are in real life by writing characters like that. In this, people like each other. And it's kind of unusual in these kind of horror movies. And it's got a kid at the centre who's not a pain in the ass. The other characters in the film, the relationships between them are they're friends. And you feel that they're friends. It's actually a very warm film in a lot of ways. And then underlying it is this strange element to do with the absence of parents. At the beginning of the film, the lead character's parents, you find out that one of them died a few months ago and another one has just been put in the ground now. So two brothers basically are left to fend for themselves. I don't know if this is an entirely universal experience, but I remember as a kid feeling, kind of fantasizing, not in a really mean way, but thinking, oh, if your parents died, you'd kind of have the house to yourself, wouldn't you? And just kind of imagining how that would work and thinking, yeah, just imagine, it'd be really sad, and you'd be terribly sad, and you'd kind of mentally work through this fantasy of your parents dying and think, oh, it'd be terribly sad. But then again, you'd have more freedom as well, wouldn't you? So there's this kind of underlying trend in Phantasm of fantasy, all sorts of kind of adolescent fantasies, I think. And then there's also this kind of the emerging sexuality, the fact that the kid's older brother is scoring with girls, so he's kind of spying on his older brother, and there's all this kind of intimacy and a blossoming sort of sexual interest and awareness, represented by very mysterious women in the film. There's a mysterious, very beautiful, voluptuous younger woman that the older brother is making out with. And then the other women in the film are extremely strange and mysterious, including a kind of a witch-like mystic living at a house by the crossroads who has magical powers and who, just in the most casual way possible, the lead character goes to visit for advice about what's going on. Of course, this brings us on to the central character, perhaps, in the film, the iconic figure, the tall man, who is as much a part of horror iconography as Dracula and Frankenstein, as far as I'm concerned, and I think for a lot of other people as well. And what does the tall man represent? He's a sort of a childhood bogeyman. And of course he's played brilliantly by this wonderful actor, Angus Scrimm. It's not his real name. He's actually called Rory Guy. And he did actually appear in some horror films before this. He's in a great little movie called Scream Bloody Murder in the early 70s. Not playing a menacing figure, playing a doctor. But if you're a big fan of Phantasm and you'd like to see the tall man a few years before Phantasm, then check out Scream Bloody Murder. There's a great scene in Phantasm, one of my favourite scenes in any horror movie, where you see him walking down the high street of this little mid-American town in slow motion, and there's an ice cream van with the back door open, and there's condensation wafting out of the ice cream van, and he just kind of turns and warms his hands or cools his hands on the condensation and basks for a second, in this kind of mist and fog from the ice. Such a strange scene. It's straight out of the dream. It's perfect filmmaking. I think Phantasm, it sometimes has more ideas than it can comfortably make into a coherent whole. But who gives a fuck? Who gives coherence be damned? I mean, it's just better this way. If there are loose ends and things that don't quite make sense, it's the kind of movie that should be partially incoherent. It's actually a strength, not a weakness. As far as why it was on the verge of being prosecuted, it's the flying balls, isn't it? The silver spheres with the drill bits drilling into people's heads. Again, that's probably it, isn't it? Driller killer is anything with drills, and then not only do they kind of latch onto your head and dig blades into your head, but they also a drill bit goes into your forehead as well. So, given that there were 5 or 6 titles which all the police forces agreed were obscene, or the courts were saying were obscene, I Spit on Your Grave, Driller Killer, Cannibal Holocaust, anything that reminded the law enforcement of those emblematic titles, was put forward for prosecution on the basis that it was a bit like that. Another possibility, and again, it's always hard thinking your way into the mindset of people who want to ban things. It's a very strange mental puppeteering exercise you have to do to try and imagine how that process works. But yeah, maybe because the lead character is a teenager, and there's a general feeling of it almost being a kids' film. It's got one foot in like a sort of a teenage adventure as well as horror, and so maybe it's the collision of some graphic horror scenes with a sensation of almost like a sort of an after-school children's adventure as well. That plus the fact that you've got whirling drills going into people's heads, I think that probably is accounts for it. But hey, most people can tell that it's not a nasty in the sense of being anything like the more notorious titles. It's a wonderful, wonderful fantasy film, really. I think more than anything else.
Phantasm. Is it a nightmare? Phantasm. Is it an illusion? Phantasm. Is it an evil?
You have to take me home.
But why?
No questions. You must take me home.
Phantasm. Is it a fantasy? Phantasm. Is it alive?
There was nobody driving.
Whatever it is, if this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead. Phantasm.
And welcome back, ladies and gents. So here we go. This is Phantasm. This one is written and directed by Don Coscarelli, released in 1979. It stars E. Michael Baldwin, Bill Thornbury, Reggie Bannister, Kathy Lester, Terry Calbus, Kenneth V. Jones. That's not as in verses, that's his name, Kenneth V. Jones.
Batman v Superman.
Yeah, that's right. Susan Harper, Lynn Eastman Rossi, and a guy called Angus Scrim. The synopsis for this one is listed on IMDb as a teenage boy and his friends face off against a mysterious grave robber known only as the Tall Man, who employs a lethal arsenal of unearthly weapons. I took the charge on the last one. You can take the charge on this one, Mark, because I have literally said everything that I ever need to say about Phantasm. So I will let you have the floor. I mean, this is dumb. This is dumb that this is on this list. Like, really,
this is
really,
on
really
here for
fucking...
one scene. One scene.
Yeah, literally, there is a drill, and that's it. Like, there's no way this movie isn't on here because Driller Killer was on the main list. That's it. That is like Driller Killer was on the main list, and it had a drill. The poster artwork for that movie was someone said getting drilled, and they're like, nope. And then in this movie here, we have that one scene, and they're like, nope. Really, it can't be. I cannot think of any other reason why it would be.
Well, we also get in the first 5 minutes, another first 5 minutes kind of movie. This movie opens with two people fucking in a graveyard, and we get some tits, and a dude gets stabbed in the chest while they're fucking, basically, like maybe right before he's about to climax. There's some weird shit going on in the background of this movie, but yeah, the scene that we're referring to that I am fucking, if it's not a first 5 minutes thing, and it's not there's a implement of death on the cover kind of thing.
Yeah.
The nastiest scene in this entire movie is when our main character Michael is like being chased through the mausoleum by the tall man, and the groundskeeper shows up, and we are first introduced to still one of the most unique things that has ever popped up in the horror film genre, which is the fucking murder balls. And the groundskeeper gets hit in the face with the murder ball. It fucking drills into his head, sprays fucking blood out like he's in a fucking Guar show, and he falls down. And I think the part that really bothered the censors was the piss coming out of his leg. That bothers a lot of people, and it's supposed to. It's supposed to be a fucking horrifying, scary scene, and like I can't imagine being in a theater when this came out and that scene fucking rolled through. Like I'm sure like people freaked the fuck out about this because it's not like anything.
It's not like anything in America and Europe. We've been getting movies like this for like a decade. Like it's
true.
Like, you know what I mean? I think that's the thing. Like to mainstream US audiences who weren't like doing the drive-through circuit or anything like that and not seeing like Fulci and Argento, and Bava,
or like the Tetsuo movies.
Oh yeah, going east, and see movies from there. If this was just a general cinema goer going to see this Phantasm movie that was getting a bit of buzz, and then you saw that, it would warp your fucking mind. There's no getting around it.
But yeah, so all that aside, honestly, dude, Phantasm is probably in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I fucking adore this movie. It is just like pure 70s Americana, like small town charm. It's you guys mentioned it like on one of those other recordings that this is definitely like written to be kind of from the point of view of like a child, basically, which is really it's a really hard thing to pull off, as an adult trying to write something that, like, especially a horror movie, you're like, what scared me a lot as a child? And like I think the dream logic in this movie works great. I know Baz fucking hated it, and
don't listen to Baz. Baz is a dick. Plus Baz doesn't listen to this, so we're fine.
But I kind of feel like I have the slightly different opinion on like how basically the whole idea that like the entire movie is a dream. I think it could go that way if you want it to. I always kind of looked at it as basically like the tall man. It's a very Freddy Krueger kind of thing. I think it's still the tall man. The tall man is just fucking with Michael throughout this entire movie. He is the boogeyman to Michael in this, and so like I never took that. I took that with like massive grain of salt, that like maybe the whole thing is just a dream. That I can kind of understand. That frustrates people a lot, and it makes the stakes seem kind of worthless. So like basically I think all of it could be a dream, or like it could just be the tall man fucking with him, basically. But you can kind of take that either way. But I think the dream logic in this works really great because you're never really sure. It's kind of an unreliable narrator thing. You're never really sure like what's real and what is a dream, and they established that like pretty early on with that. Dude, one of my favorite fucking shots in a movie ever is when he wakes up and the camera just pulls out and the tall man is standing above his bed and he's in a fucking
graveyard. It looks fucking incredible.
Yeah,
it's Italian as fuck, dude. It's Italian as fuck. That is Italian cinema. That's 70s Italian horror cinema right there, but captured in this kind of flashier American way where it legitimately is scary. Like the Italian stuff isn't scary. It's kind of like, how did we end up here 2 minutes ago? We were like drinking wine with our best friend. Like in this one, it's totally like, no, boom, you're not safe even when you sleep.
It's pure nightmare fuel, and especially if you were quite a bit younger when you watched this movie, like it's the everything from the point of view of like a teenage boy. I think it works really well, and it definitely gets like what is scary to children. It's just in general, like I've talked a zillion times on podcasts about the sitting on the porch playing guitar scene. just sitting here at midnight, and I'll be sitting here till noon. I don't know why, but I fucking adore that scene so much.
So do I. Like Baz is the only one that dislikes it, right? So like once again, we don't want to give him credence. Like we're not giving Baz power on this episode. Like he's wrong for not liking that scene. That's ridiculous.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry, Baz, but you're totally wrong, and I don't know. Like, I guess it maybe depends on like your upbringing or whatever, but like that, like just that one scene where they don't even have any dialogue. It's just what they're doing, kind of. like sets up their characters, I think, really well, and just kind of establishes like how tight these guys are, and just the kind of laid back, like small town life that they usually live. And like how it makes the horror that much worse too, because you're like, these guys have like a pretty chill life. Like Reggie's a fucking ice cream truck man, like Michael's probably still like going to school, and you know, isn't really, the parents are gone, so they're not like hovering over him. So I mean, he's growing up really quick and has to learn kind of his own independence. And like, yeah, his biggest fear before like all the Phantasm shit starts is that his older brother is gonna fucking leave him.
Yeah.
And like, it just does so much like character building and world building and like really simple, smart ways that like, yeah, when the horror finally starts, you get kind of fucking whiplash from it, and you're like, oh my god, it just hits way fucking harder. One of my favorite scores of all time. The music is so fucking good. Like they knocked it out of the park, and then obviously reused it like all the way through the series. Like it's just that one of those iconic theme songs in this movie. And yeah, dude, Phantasm is so fucking good. It's kind of a travesty that this, like, you know, is just kind of soft banned in the UK, because it literally has one fucking scene that I think is like, you know, really, you could maybe make an argument that it might be a little too extreme for some audiences, but even then, that would be back then. By today's standards, this thing is super fucking tame. You could probably easily show. You haven't shown this one to your daughter yet, have you?
No. She's at the stage just now where, like, she needs stuff to be happening quick. She's a modern kid, so although she's watched a couple of older movies, oh shit, that's her like using her fucking psychic powers against me. Like, don't you speak about me when I'm not there, father. Like she's watched some older, like she's desperate at the moment to. I mean, she's seen like Friday the 13th. So
she loved the Evil Dead, and she loved the Evil Dead movies.
She watched Evil Dead 2 recently and fucking loved it. So like I
think she could handle this, and she
totally could handle this. I think it's more the sit down conversation at the end, like, would be a bit like, right, I don't get this, which we got when she watched Ghost Stories with me, and it finished.
It'll be the Baz conversation all over.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be like me going like that. Like, what do you mean you didn't understand this? This is why he's trying to fix his brother's car, because he died in a car crash. It's all about grief. Symbolism and grief. Like, she could too easily sit through this one. This is one of these ones that I feel in a couple of years' time, when we've done a lot of the modern stuff and she's got a reverence for the older stuff, like, definitely top tier. Very much so yourself. Phantasm, like, is comfortably in my favourite horror movies ever made. I genuinely, because it does that thing that few directors out with someone like a Brian De Palma really managed to capture, which is that like kind of European Italian aesthetic and vibe, but Americanize it in a way which isn't just like, well, you know, they kill some people, so we've got to make slashers which are even more over the top. It has all the feel and vibe of it brought over. And even down at the score, like, the score is like 2 steps away from being written by Goblin. It's like, you know what I mean? It's that sort of level. Like, someone had come to me and said like that, oh yeah, this is like Fabio Frizzi and like Goblin decided to collaborate under a side project for this like one score, and it was called, you know, Phantasm. I would totally believe that, because that's what the score feels like. So it wears its influences on its sleeves, but it's so well done. And that's not to take into effect that, you know, it took him a year to do, shot this at weekends, borrowed money to make it, and he was fucking in his early 20s when he did it. It's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing, just on that level.
Coscarelli was kind of a child prodigy. I think he made another movie before this. Title escapes me. It was like a kids movie. Like,
that's right. It did really well as well.
Yeah. It was shot for super duper cheap, and it actually like made the investors back quite a bit of money. But Coscarelli said in a lot of interviews that there's one scene in that movie, which I wish I could remember the fucking title of, but there's a scene where the kids go through a haunted house, and it has like a jump scare in it, and it worked fucking great at all of the screenings that they went to. So that's kind of where Coscarelli was like, well, maybe we could like do that, like, you know, ad nauseum in like an entire 90-minute movie, like a horror movie. And Phantasm is like, It's definitely a lot of things borrowed and kind of made new. I think, like you were saying, like a lot of Italian cinema stuff, a lot of just like I'm sure like Gothic art probably had a lot of influence on this.
Plus,
a lot of
it's the same. If you watch, like, you think of the directors of the time, right? That are kind of making their break at this point here, whether it's your if you're looking at someone maybe less Wes Craven because he's established by this point, but John Carpenter specifically, and then you've got people like Joe Dante, like if you ever watch the trailers from Hell Channel, it's just him like stroking off European horror movies because that's what came to your drive-thrus. That's what you got. All these directors were sitting there watching all these movies that were absolutely fucking bonkers and like felt like they were from a different planet, and kind of like thinking, how can we change this, like fit this language to match American audiences or put our own spin on them. And that's where Coscarelli comes in. That movie, by the way, is called Kenny and Company.
Kenny and Company.
That's the one he did, and he did that like basically the year before he started shooting Phantasm. But like you've got, I don't know, there's just part of me that feels like Coscarelli's always that one where you're like, he never really compromised. Like, he kind of stuck to the movies he really wanted to make, and as a result of that, it's a kind of what-if scenario with him. You know what I mean? If he'd been given a shitload of money at any point,
like Tobe Hooper money,
to like in the 80s, if Cannon got behind him, imagine what that would have looked like. I mean, the closest he got to it was Phantasm 2, where the money is like ridiculous on that one, but still like cheap by any other movie in 88. You know what I mean? It's not a lot of money by any stretch of the imagination. It kind of feels like he's always going to be one of those guys where we're going to have to sit back and wonder, not what if necessarily, but kind of like if he'd been a bit more like a Guillermo del Toro, for example, with a kind of one for me, one for them sort of attitude, what some of those bigger budget Hollywood movies might have actually looked like. Because you're right, when it comes to filmmaking, dude's a prodigy, and those guys that can create movies that hang as well as this does together out of little money. I'm looking at the, once again, the Joe Dantes, I'm looking at the Sam Raimis, the Peter Jacksons of the world. Like, those guys all went on and ultimately embraced the Hollywood regime in one way, shape or form, and look at the movies they commanded when they did that. Coscarelli always kind of feels like that, a what-if scenario, and part of me loves the fact that he kind of stuck to what he wanted to do, but the other part of me feels like this dude should have like 80 movies. Like when you actually, he has surprisingly very little movies against his name, and most of them are Phantasm movies.
Especially later in his career, he picked at least a handful of like what I would call pretty risky projects. Like Bubba Hotep on paper sounds fucking
ridiculous,
insane. And the fact that anybody gave them money to make that movie is like a small miracle.
John dies at the end was marked as being unfilmable. That's literally, this is a unfilmable story, and he he cuts a lot of the stuff out from the book, but that hangs together really fucking well. I would like there's the like people always talk about the missed opportunity of Bubba Nosferatu, Curse of the She-Vampires, the movie that never happened. Give me this book is full of spiders, like the John dies at the end sequel book. Give me that by Coscarelli with the same actors and all the rest, and I'd be happy as a pig in shit. But yeah, he did it. He got his system, and that's him. You know what I mean?
Yep, and even if he never made another movie after Phantasm is gonna have legs for fucking longer than we're ever gonna be around. It's a movie that gets better with time, and nostalgia plays a little bit into that because a lot of people have a fondness for 70s America. The fucking car in this movie, people are fucking obsessed with. It's just got so many elements that work for it that I can't ever see a world where people will be like, oh, this dusty old Phantasm movie, it's not very good. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think this is gonna be a fucking classic for a long time.
Yeah, he nailed it. He nailed it. Like, his first horror movie, and he created a pop horror icon. Tom Mann is in there, like, against all the odds. He's like, of all the characters in there, he's maybe, he's kind of almost in the same way like something like a Pennywise is. It's kind of like an oddity. You probably wouldn't have the first time you saw him on screen be like that. Well, people will be getting tattoos of him on them, but now it's kind of like, yeah, he's like crossed the barrier into pop culture strongly and remains there. I mean, Coscarelli has not directed a movie in a decade. Like John Dies at the End was 2012, so he's not done.
Oof.
He's not done. Yeah, he was a producer. And heavily involved with Ravager, which is still 6 years ago. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yep.
But yeah, he's done nothing since then. Well, he wrote a book. But if he ever makes another movie, I mean, he's still in his 60s. He's late 60s. He's a young guy. So he's in his late 60s. He hasn't even really hit 70 yet. So he probably could do it. He probably won't do it. And part of me's kind of cool with that. Like Phantasm is, if you have a collection of even the top 20 horror movies ever made, and Phantasm isn't at least like a hard decision to put that on the list for you, then I just got to question your judgment as a horror fan. Is that fucking good? Is that fucking good?
Yep. Agreed.
Right, so let's talk about then grades for this then, Mark. Don't know why I got aggressive there. If your name really is Mark, what are you giving Phantasm? What's the?
Oh man,
it's a hard one, isn't it?
This falls into this belongs in a fucking museum category, I think. So I think I'm giving this like a pretty slight slap on the wrist. Yeah. Like by the standards that it came out, I'm sure this was pretty shocking and fucked up and weird and wild and out there. It still is to a degree, but I think like enough stuff. I was thinking while we were talking about this about how like the Zoomers are probably going to compare the Tall Man to like Slender Man, and how much like honestly like more scary and fucked up some of those creepypastas are than like Phantasm really is like today. So I mean, like, yeah, it's come around. I still think this is a pretty scary and fucking disturbing movie and has some like pure nightmare fuel imagery.
Yeah.
But without the one scene, I think, of like the groundskeeper getting fucking drilled by the murder ball, the rest of this is relatively tame. Like I said, if your kid's got a pretty strong constitution and is like starting to build a tolerance to horror movies, then I think this is a pretty easy watch. The hard part, like you said, is going to be explaining the logic of this movie, because it kind of doesn't have it. It plays by its own rules and doesn't really give a fuck if any of it makes any sense. Like this popped up on the Shudder show that they're doing right now, the like 101 greatest horror movie scenes or whatever. And almost every person, I think Joe Bob Briggs was one that talked about it, and he said, he's like, the story of this movie doesn't really make a lot of sense, and like, you don't really care while you're watching it. You're just along for the ride, basically. So, long story short, I'm giving this a slap on the wrist, and this is going in the fucking museum.
I'm with you. It's a slap on the wrist. There's enough in here to merit that kind of grade against it. Yeah, without Phantasm, I know I mentioned this at length with Baz, but without Phantasm, you don't have Nightmare on Elm Street. That movie doesn't exist. Like, not only does and the more I've drilled into this, like, no pun intended, the more it annoys me when I think about what's the one thing I hate about Nightmare on Elm Street, Mark?
The long arms?
Yeah, what does he do right after the long arm scene? He chops his fingers off, and all that gunk comes spurting out, and then
with this big shit-eating grin on his face.
Yeah, when he's doing it, and
very
then
jokey.
Yeah, and then I was just thinking to myself, what happens in Phantasm? Oh yeah, the tall man gets his fingers chopped off, and all this gunk comes out. And he's just fucking Wes Craven, you hack!
you ripped him off.
Come at your grave and put some flowers down because you're a horror icon.
Be sad that you're gone.
Shed a tear, pour a 40 out for my fallen homie. Still don't know what that means. But yeah, I mean, it's a slap on the wrists here. It's a great fucking movie. That incredible movie. Unlike the two movies we'll be covering on the next episode, Mark. So that's another segue. See how we did that? Effortless. We're going to take a short break. You're going to hear a promo when we return. We're closing out the show and we're doing it right after this.
This is a test of the emergency podcasting system. Listen to the Psychosemantic Podcast. Politics, movies, and political movies. Find us on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, LegionPodcasts.com, the Psychosemantic Podcast.
And you've been listening to Doing the Nasty Podcast. This has been Season 2, Episode 30, with reviews of Enter the Devil and Phantasm. Mark Ball, oh dear, we have 2 movies on the next episode, which we've just been talking about off air, which you're like, that dude, there's one that I like, and one that I don't, and I don't like either. So,
if you know me, you could probably figure out which one of these ones I like. Yeah, I saw one. I'm not gonna say which, but I saw one of these at a festival a couple of years as like a retrospective kind of screening, and I thought it was really interesting. But you'll have to wait until next episode to find out which. But well, yeah, what are we watching on the next one?
We're going to both sides of the pond. We're going to be doing "Don't Answer the Phone" by Robert Hammer. That's right, it's Hammer time.
Which is on Tubi in the States, just for people watching these at home.
Yeah, it's based on the Michael Curtis novel, although Robert Hammer actually did the screenplay adaptation for it. And the synopsis for that one is: a deeply disturbed Vietnam veteran terrorizes the young women of Los Angeles and taunts a radio psychologist with descriptions of his grisly crimes. So that's one of them. The other movie we're going to be doing is one that I discussed on Podcast Under the Stairs when myself and Derek Bourgeois sat and went through that Norman J. Warren box set, and that's Prey, directed by the late great Norman J. Warren from 1977. The merciful thing about these is both these movies short. Like one of them's an hour and a half, one of them's an hour and 20. The synopsis for Prey is: a deadly shape-shifting alien infiltrates a country house occupied by 2 lesbians. Hubba hubba. I put the hubba hubba in there. It's not actually in the hubba hubba. It's not hubba hubba.
You added that.
And proceeds to study their behaviour. I bet he did, horny bugger. For a sinister purpose. That would be masturbation, because the church has told us that's bad.
Yep, I did the same thing. me and the alien are on the same page.
A whole lot of like kind of
fapping ourselves blind.
Horrible skinny sounds. What was going on here? So this one will be our second movie that we're covering on the next episode, which I'm just going to tell you right now, we're going to give it time. We're not doing it back to back because I'm going to let this one savor. I'm going to let it marinate in its own juices. I don't know where we're going with this movie to move on. But until we return with those 2, what you got coming up, Mark?
So I got another live show booked actually the weekend after the wedding, so it's gonna be the first weekend in November. That's I'm heading back up to Billings, Montana to play another show at Kirk's. I got a bunch of new tracks in the works. I'm hoping to have another EP, like probably short 25 minutes roughly, out before the end of the year. You can find my stuff on Bandcamp. Just search Fancy Mark as an artist. I put out an album previously in May that's called Jinxed. Should be pretty easy to find. I'm also on all the streaming shit, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all that stuff. Just search Fancy Mark as the artist. I'd really like to keep the ball rolling on the music stuff. It's been a pretty successful year, besides that one awful fucking show that I got out of the way. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to focus on right now. You know, a lot of my other hobbies and bullshit kind of taking a back burner, because the music thing is it's going pretty well. And I actually made a couple bucks selling the album this year. That's definitely a huge motivator. It's like, oh my god, I can fucking make money doing this? Are you fucking kidding me? And yeah, huge thanks to everybody that's checked it out so far, and everybody that bought digital downloads and all that fun stuff. There is definitely more music coming up here pretty quick. I'll give a little shout out. Obviously, Duncan's this is the 3rd time he's talked about Phantasm in the last couple of months. Cinema Psyops did a pretty great full franchise fest a couple years ago about all the Phantasm movies. I go back and listen to those episodes every once in a while if I don't have anything else to listen to, and they did a pretty great job on that. That's over on Legion Podcasts. Dude, Duncan, to the people at home, Duncan has worked his fucking ass off on stuff this summer, so definitely go check out the summer series stuff. There was a couple great interviews he did with some filmmakers. yeah, dude, I gotta hand it to you, dude. You fucking knocked it out of the park this summer, and have just been busting out fucking shows left and right, and it's saved me a lot of really boring fucking car rides. So I do really appreciate that.
Oh, thanks very much, man. Yeah, like it's been a weird year, but in the best possible way. And that summer series, I can finally relax and look back on that series lovingly, which I couldn't do whilst I was in it, because I'd never do that. But it's out there. Mark is on those episodes. He's on 2 of those years. They were a ton of fun as well, so please go and check those out. We're going to be back within the month, I would imagine, or maybe just over that, because Mark is getting married, and I'm not going to be like that. So you got married yesterday. Are you ready to talk about? Don't answer the phone, Mark.
Especially because the wedding's on a Saturday, and we usually record on Sundays. It's like, sorry, my new wife, I gotta get up early tomorrow morning and record a Duncan.
You don't know what he's like. He won't give me time off. But
like,
yeah,
I got a lawyer on speed dial right here. This is over before it started.
So yeah, we'll be back like relatively quickly, and then yeah, I'm gonna try and get us like not back on schedule, but I'm gonna try and get a good few booked in before we close down for the end of the year. But yeah, there's a ton of really interesting stuff still to do on the Nasty. If you're wondering about some of the big titles, we've still to do Rabid. That's right, we're going to get to that one. That's going to be a ton of fun for sure. We still have to do The Thing.
Yep.
You may have heard of that movie.
Which I might be going to see in a theater a little bit today. The Flashback Cinema folks are doing screenings, I think, tonight and next Wednesday. So this might be my third time seeing The Thing on the big screen. Obviously, it's my favorite fucking movie of all time.
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that one on here for sure.
Yeah, we still have to talk about Alice Sweet Alice, which will make an appearance somewhere in there for sure.
Nice.
And yeah, you go from the dizzying highs to the dizzying lows of Zombie Holocaust, which is a guilty pleasure of mine, to say the least. I'm going back.
Yeah, I think there's a couple cannibal movies hiding in there that we have yet to do.
Yeah.
People
Mondo Cannibal is in there, yeah.
So. Yeah, long-time listeners know how much I love the cannibal movies, so we got that to look forward to.
Oh, I can't wait. So yeah, don't adjust that dial. Keep with us, keep subscribed. More content coming your way real soon. Mark, say goodbye to the listeners.
Goodbye, listeners. Thanks for your patience. We'll be back real quick. Just keep watching fucked up shit out there.
Nice. And from me, Duncan McLeish, I'm saying thank you for checking out this episode of Down the Nasty, and until the next time, take care.
Nasty. Nasty.
They were called Nasties, and they were nasty.
Some of the things that we've seen are so horrific.
These films not only affect young people, but I believe they affect adults as well.
An extravaganza of gory violence capable of depraving and corrupting those who watched it.
I have never seen a video nasty. I wouldn't. I actually don't need to see what I know is in that film.